Shakeito. These are the introduction where the iron sun meets the smoky midst. My life began under an iron sun in Jamaica and found its second wind under the smoky skies of Tennessee. To understand where I'm going, you must first understand the soil I am made of. I am a product of St. Ann, a place of breathtaking beauty and hidden struggles. I grew up in a village that raised me under the watchful, bad boy eyes of a grandfather who taught me that land is sacred and work is a requirement for existence. I learned early on that life is not always fair. Sometimes you are the MAGA kid being checked on by coaches, and sometimes you are the boy watching girls run away from the Windsor home, seeking a freedom that often looked like another kind of cage. The transition from the heat of Kingston and Spanish Town to the volunteer blaze of Tennessee was not just a change in geography. It was a total recalibration of my soul. I arrived with nothing but second-hand hope and a few bags. I lived on frozen pizzas, walked miles to Walmart in the cold, and spoke to God in the silence of hotel rooms. This book is structured in several chapters because my journey required that many steps to feel complete. Start in the hills of St. Ann, move through the holographic echoes of my youth, navigate the corporate challenges of my early adulthood, and finally land in the reality of marriage and life in Tennessee. It's a journey through time where reality and dreams intertwine. It's a story of a man learning to speak clearly, to love deeply, and to lead with faith. Welcome to my life. The journey has only just begun. Chapter 1. The Encounter. On a warm and vibrant morning in the picturesque parish of St. Ann, nestled on the sun-kissed island of Jamaica, a humble home cradled the hopes and dreams of a family that had known little more than the warmth of the Caribbean sun. St. Ann's Bay was beautiful then, a paradise of turquoise waters and emerald hills, and it remains just as breathtaking today, a place where the greenery meets the sea in a perfect, timeless embrace. In this unassuming abode, Shakeito Sr., came into the world on the 2nd of April 1998, the embodiment of love and promise in the eyes of those who waited for him. Born to the loving care of his mother, Tracy Ann Campbell, Shakeito's earliest moments were painted with the hues of a simple, rhythmic life. His mother, with her unwavering dedication and grace, was the absolute heart of their household, a pillar of strength in a world that wasn't always kind. However, even in those days, there was a quiet shadow in the family's foundation. His father, the White Senior, and his mother did not share a good relationship, and the strain between them was a silent force that shaped the trajectory of how things eventually turn out. It was a reality that meant Shakeito would grow up with a different kind of resilience, born from watching his mother navigate life's complexities largely on her own terms. From the humble shelter they call home, they overlook the rolling hills, a stone throw from the historical Windsor girls' home. Life there had its own peculiar, sometimes haunting rhythms. Growing up, it was a common and startling sight to see girls from the home attempting to run away, fleeing the confines of the institution to disappear into the thick, tangled bush of the hills. They were often accompanied by men who knew the hidden paths and their escape routes frequently led them right through the land where Shakeito's grandfather resided. The land was more than just dirt and grass. It was a sacred to his grandfather, John Campbell. John was a man carved out of Jamaican heart with a bad boy as his daughter Tracy, and fondly called him. He was a pillar of grit and a man of immense authority who smoked and worked until his eyes closed. He died at the age of 80, having lived a life defined by the soil and the sweat of his brow. He was fiercely protective of his land and held a deep-seated hatred for those who treated it as a mere convenience, using it as a shortcut just because it was the easiest way to get where they were going. To him, the land was sacred, and it required respect. His mother spoke of him with the highest regard. He was her first teacher, her primary provider, and a man who set the standard for what hard work looked like. For Shakeito and his brothers, the grandfather's house was a sanctuary, especially during the long, humid school holidays. Those visits were defined by the simple, pure joys of a Jamaican childhood at Easter. The air would be filled with the sound of snapping paper and the whistling of the wind. John would sit on his porch, his weathered hands moving with surprising precision. Yeah, as he painstakingly built long, sturdy trails for their kites, he ensured they were balanced perfectly, watching with a quiet pride as his grandson sent them soaring across the vast blue Jamaican sky. Perhaps the most cherished memory of those holidays was the ritual walk to the meat shop. They didn't go for the beef or the pork, they went for the ice cream cuttings. These were thick, delicious clusters of leftover ice cream cake, all different flavors clustered into one, sold off cuts. To Shakeito and his brothers, it was better than any gourmet dessert. It was their favorite treat, a sweet, cold reward that made the holidays feel like a magical escape from the pressures of the world. Despite these moments of joy, Shakeito's own physical journey was a struggle from the start. Though he was A healthy toddler at heart, he was maga as a Jamaican term for being extremely thin and bony. His physique was so slight that it drew constant concern and even suspicion. He vividly remembered an occasion when a high school track and field coach actually visited their home just to verify that he was being fed properly. No matter how much his mother assured the coach that he ate well, the man remained skeptical, unable to reconcile Shakeito's energy with his frail appearance. This constant scrutiny over his image weighed heavily on his young mind. It tempered his self-esteem and made him acutely aware of how he carried himself. A self-consciousness that followed him through primary and secondary school. Whether he was sprinting on the track or sitting in the classroom, at just 4 months of age, the first major shift in his life occurred. The first of many moments that would define his history. Traciana, a vision of beauty and resilience, even in her youth, held her son close as they prepared to leave the rustic, rural peace of the Senton countryside. They boarded a sturdy country bus, its worn leather seats smelling of dust and old journeys, a testament to the countless miles it had traversed across the island. They ventured along windy country roads, passing through the fields of swaying sugarcane and the rows of coconut palms that stood like sentinels along the coast. They waved at smiling country people who stood by the roadside from Steertown to Manique through the cool air of Fatespen, and finally across the legendary and historical Flatbridge, a place of both beauty and danger. Finally, the bus changed into the heat and noise of Spanish Town. The bus arrived in Central Village, a place where the unfamiliar streets would soon become the backdrop of his youth. But life has a way of surprising us, of placing unexpected twists in our paths when we least expected them. As Shakeito reached the age of 23, he found himself far from the quiet hills of Senton and emerged in the fast-paced rhythms of a life he was still trying to master. It was on a sunny morning, a day marked by the celebration of his birthday, that an ordinary world he knew was about to be forever altered as he awoke to the soft morning light filtering through his window. Shakeito Sr. sensed a peculiar, frightening sensation in his chest. His heart quickened, his rhythm fluttering and skipping, as if it were trying to tell him something he wasn't ready to hear. A strange feeling washed over him, surreal, unsettling, and heavy with significance. Seemed like a day like any other, until a sharp knock on the door revealed an unexpected guest. A sturdy, futuristic figure stood before him, an enigmatic presence that seemed to bridge the gap between the past he had left behind in Senton and the future he couldn't see. The encounter that unfolded on the fateful morning was unlike anything Shakeito could ever imagine. The world he thought he knew was about to expand in ways he could secretly comprehend. Future, beckoned with possibilities, yet uncharted, and the timeless journey of Shakeito Sr. had truly finally begun. Chapter 2. The Robot's Origins. The robot did not arrive all at once. It was built, piece by piece, out of necessity. In the lush, vibrant chaos of Senton, while other children were loud and boisterous, I was often the one standing at the edge of the crowd watching. I was the Maga boy, thin, fragile looking, and constantly under the magnifying glass of those who thought they knew what a healthy child should look like. When the high school track coach came to my home to question my mother about whether I was eating something, shifted inside of me. I realized that people would always have a perception of me that didn't match my reality. To protect myself from the weight of their judgment and the sting of my own self-esteem issues, I began to develop a secondary layer, a logical processor that could filter out noise and focus only on the facts of survival. The cinema of perspective One of the first moments I felt this internal shift was during a grade 5 school trip from Nagahead Primary School to Carib Vibe Theatre in Crossroads. We were there to see 2 movies, Marley and Me and Pearl Bart, Mall Cop. As the lights dimmed, I felt a strange sensation as if I were sensing myself from outside my own body, realizing I was part of a much larger identity. Marley and Me shifted my perspective on the future. It showed me that the reality of raising a family with someone you might not perfectly compatible with, yet making it work through growth, love and sacrifice. After the intermission during Paul Bart, I had a sudden realization. I didn't always have to follow the rules. I found a ticket on the floor which I didn't need and moved to a different room to watch the film. As a 9 or 10-year-old boy, I watched Paul Blart trod through the mall trying to gain respect, and I felt a deep kinship with him. More than anything, I wanted to be seen for who I truly was, the challenge of potential. My internal logic also pushed me to test my limits even when the odds were against me. During a summer school session at Nagahead Primary, I found myself constantly teasing a classmate named Jovan Brown. He would often brag about being the fastest person in his prep school, which I saw as nothing but talk. Even though I knew I lacked raw speed, I challenged him to a 20-meter dash on the field. Deep down, I believe I could do anything I put my mind to. Though Jovan eventually followed me to Woolman's Boys School a year later, that moment on the primary school field was when I first realized my own potential. The mother-son dynamic, the warrior's grace. While I built my logical walls, my mother remained the only person who truly knew me. She was my twin, fostering and nurturing me with a specific kind of tough love. Love I needed rather than the love I simply wanted. Her grace made me a warrior in many circumstances, and I remain eternally grateful for her. Yet our relationship was marked by a quiet distance. Even at 27 years old, I can only remember hugging her once. She was the anchor that allowed my internal world to develop easy as I become more of an observer than a participant. System error, the weight of stillness. The robot's mission was safety through logic, safety through non-confrontation. But the first system error, when logic failed me, remains the biggest regret of my life. My brother Shakeito had been late for school, and my mother, worried, sent us to find him. We found him at the bus stop at Nagahead. As we walked back together, I noticed 2 suspicious men at Marine Park. I mentioned them to my brother Shakeito, my internal processor flagging a threat. As we approach them, the men become violent. They grabbed from my brother's phone, Shakeito and Shakim, the younger brothers who look up to me as their elder, fought back against the thieves, one of whom was harmed with a knife. In that moment of extreme adversity, my logic locked up. I froze. I stood still while my brothers battled. That day they looked down on me because I was unable to protect them. It was a failure of the robot and a failure of a man, a moment I would change above all others if I could ever truly travel back through time.